All right, who uses instant messaging? Do younger people use online instant messaging or IM more often than older people? A random sample of IM users found that 73 of the 158 people in the sample aged 18 to 27 said they used IM more often than email. In the 28 to 39 age group, 26 of 143 people used IM more often than email. So they want us to construct and interpret a 90% confidence interval for the difference between the proportions of IM users in these age groups who use IM more often than email. So our parameters of interest are, so P1 is going to be the true proportion of young people, so young people being those, that demographic of, what was it, 18 to 27, right? Who use IM more often than email. And the proportion 2 is going to be the true proportion of older people who use IM more than email. Older people meaning the demographic from 28 to 39, right? Okay, so we want to estimate the difference, P1 minus P2, the true proportion difference, right? At a 90% confidence level, given these sample proportions, right? So a part of our plan, we should use a 2-sample Z interval for P1 minus P2, of course, if the conditions are met. So the random, both samples were selected randomly, right? They said that in the problem, right? A random sample, right? Okay, so now we're going to check for normality. All right, so that's going to be the N1 times P1 hat, which is equal to, so there were 158 in the sample for the 18 to 27 year olds, right? 18 to 27, right? Yeah. So 158 times, and the proportion they got from that was 73 out of 158, right? And of course, this is 73, which is bigger than or equal to 10. So that checks. So now N1 times 1 minus P1 hat, which is going to be 158 times, and this would be 85 over 158, which is of course equal to 85, which is bigger or equal to 10. So that checks. Now let's do N2 times P2 hat. So the number in this, from 28 to 39, the number of that was, let's see. So the proportion is 26 over 143, so there were 143 people, right? So this is equal to 143 times, so the proportion was 26 over 143, which is 26, which is bigger than or equal to 10. So now N2 times 1 minus P2 hat, which is 143 times, and this would be 117 over 143, which is of course 117, which is bigger than or equal to 10. So our normal condition is satisfied. Now let's check our independent condition. All right, so remember that's also the 10% condition. So we have N1 is equal to all people, all right, people, all right, is this just people in general? Do younger people, random IM users found, so IM users found that in the sample, IM in the age, people used IM. So yeah, people from 18 to 27, right? So people aged 18 to 27, right? And then N2 is going to be people aged 28 to 39, right? So, of course, the number in our sample, right, was 158 for the first one. So remember, it was, we have to have this condition N1 is less than or equal to a 10th of capital N1, and N2 has to be less than or equal to 1/10 of capital N2. And N1, remember, was 158, so 158, and that is, of course, less than a tenth of all IM users between 18 to 27, right? And of course, this one was 143, which is less than or equal to a tenth of N2. So of course, these are satisfied. So we have the random condition satisfied, the normal condition satisfied, and the independent condition satisfied. So that means all of the conditions are met. Okay, so now let's go down here. Now let's do our confidence, our 90% confidence interval, right? So remember, N1 was 158. The proportion, right, was 73 over 158, which gives us 0.462. N2 was 143, and the proportion for the older people was 20, that use IM over email was 26 over 143, which is 0.182. So here are proportions. Now remember, for the 90% confidence interval, we have to do 1 minus 0.90 over 2, which is 0.05. So we have our critical value here. So here's our guy here and here. In this area, that is 0.05, right? And 0.05, and we have to find our critical values that go with these, right? So let's go ahead and go to the table. Okay, so as you can see, I have it highlighted. And here's my normal distribution table. So I have 0.0505 and 0.0495. So it's right between 1.64. So it's between 1.64 and 1.65. So it's 1.645, right? So that is my critical value I'm going to be using. So this will be negative 1.645 and 1.645. All right, so we need that for our confidence interval, right? So as you can see, I have the conclude ready. So our 90% confidence interval is going to be P1 hat minus P2 hat plus or minus Z star times the square root of P1 hat times 1 minus P1 hat over N1 plus P2 hat times 1 minus P2 hat all over N2. And this will equal, so this equals, so here this is going to be 0.462 minus 0.182 plus or minus 1.645 times the square root of 0.462 times 0.538 over 158 plus, and then 0.182 times 0.818 all over 143. And if I do that math here, that's going to be 0.28 plus or minus 0.0841. And this is equal to, so this will give us our confidence interval 0.1959 to 0.3641. All right, so we can conclude we are 90% confident that the interval, this interval that we calculated here, captures the true difference in proportions of young people and older people who use IM more than email. This suggests that between 19.6% and 36.4% more young people than older people use IM more often than email.